Hi friends, welcome to or welcome back to the channel Jane Reads. My name is Jeanette and today I'm going to do an overview of all the books I read in the month of August. Now throughout the month of August I was doing weekly reading vlogs, so there are 4 videos and those videos encompass all the books that I read in the month of August. So I talk about the book when I start the book and halfway through the book and a wrap up as I finish the book. So I will link each one of those reading vlogs below, and that's where you will get the full thoughts on my reads. In this video, I'm just going to tell you what the book was, what I rated it, would I recommend it to you. It's going to be a very short overview of each one of the books. So in total, I read 14 books throughout the month. That is a total of 3,851 pages, which works out to 275 pages per book. I did read a lot of shorter books this month, so that is a bit lower than my normal. Okay, out of the 14, I had 2 5 stars, I had 7 4 stars, 3 3 stars, and 1 2 star, and 1 book that I did not rate, which I will talk about when I get to that book. And I read 7 suspense books, which is great because I was co-hosting the Keep Me in Suspense Readathon that happened all month with Caitlin from Chronicles of a Book Nerd. And we had a board with 8 prompts on it. I did fulfill all 8 prompts. And so here is the board, and I'm going to briefly tell you, if my phone cooperates, I'm going to tell you what books I read for each prompt. So prompt number 1 is Partners, so a book with 2 or more POVs, and for that I read Bridge of Gold by Kimberley Woodhouse. For Rookie, I read Lynn, the prompt is a debut book. I read Lynn H. Blackburn's debut, Covert Justice. Then for 911 Call, a book under 250 pages, I could put 2 books in here. Out of Time by Lynn H. Blackburn, which is a novella from the Defend and Protect series, or Hidden Justice by Lynn H. Blackburn. Both are under 250 pages. Then for New Case File, the prompt is first in a series. So my book was The Road to Paradise by Barnett, or True to You by Becky Wade. Then for Follow the Evidence, the prompt is just a mystery or suspense. So for this one, I put in Out of Time by Irene Hannon. And then for Backup, the friend recommendation, I had The Silver Shadow by Liz Tolsma, which was recommended to me by my mom. Then for Case Closed, a standalone, I read Because You're Mine by Colleen Coble, or The Codebreaker's Daughter by Amy Lynn Green. And then for the last one is Cold Case, a TBR vet. I read To Save Her Child by Margaret Daley because this had been on my TBR since 2015, and I bought it back in 2015. So yeah, that is a vet for sure. Okay. Now, let's talk about each book that I read. So, Bridge of Gold was the first book I finished by Kimberley Woodhouse. This is part of the Doors to the Past series. You do not need to read them in order. They just all kind of have the same theme about historical events. It is a dual timeline story, but each book does not connect with each other. So this one is set around the Golden Gate Bridge. It says, repairs on the Golden Gate Bridge uncover a century-old murder. And so it is a romance as well. So it is set in 1933 and in present day. So at the building of the Golden Gate, and then repairs are being made on the Golden Gate in present day. I gave this one 3 stars. I absolutely loved the historical section of it. I just didn't connect with the present day characters as much as I did with the historical. But it has definitely made me want to read more Kimberley Woodhouse for historical. Then the novella Out of Time by Lynn Blackburn. So this is basically Holly's romance story with a bit of suspense added in. It is part of the Defend and Protect series. Holly is a sibling to Faith, who is in book 1 of the series. What's book 1 called? Unknown Threat. And this is just 85 pages, 90 pages maybe. It's very short. But there was a moment in it that made me jump because I was not expecting it to happen. And it was like, wow. So yeah, I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I just wish it had been longer. Then I listened to The Road to Paradise by Karen Barnett. This is a historical romance set in the 1920s. It is book 1 of the Vintage National Parks series. I think that's the series name. And basically, we are following a female that comes from a wealthy family who wants to work at the national park. And she meets a ranger who's working at the national park. They have 2 very different thoughts on God and kind of the idea of the park. There is a little bit of a mystery going on with it. I really enjoyed this, and it made me want to spend more time in national parks. And it made me think, because this is at the beginning of the national park system kind of starting up and drawing tourists in a little bit, and kind of made me think about enjoying nature, but taking nature for granted, or maybe possibly ruining nature so that we can get there and enjoy it, because you have to build parking lots and things, right? And so yeah, it really made me think. I gave it 4 stars. Because You're Mine by Colleen Coble. This is a standalone romantic suspense. We meet, what is her name? Alana? I don't know. Probably Alana, who is from Ireland as part of a band, and her husband gets killed very early on in the book. And so then we're following kind of how does she deal with that and everything that's going on. She's from Ireland, but her band is touring in Charleston, South Carolina. And a lot of the book takes place in South Carolina. There was just issues that I had with this book. Some things just felt very obvious to me, and how did the other people not catch on to it? And then there was also some other things about inhabiting, or like spirits inhabiting or taking somebody's spirit. Like it was weird. So this is the book that I gave 2 stars to. I just did not really enjoy it. Okay, then I read Covert Justice by Lynn Blackburn. As I said, this is her debut book. It is a love-inspired suspense, so it is fairly short, 224-ish pages. And we are following the owner of a plastics factory and the FBI. So the FBI has come to the factory because they have discovered that a member of a crime family has got a job at the factory. And they're trying to figure out why they pursued this factory and why do they want to work here? Like, what's their motive? And so they're trying to figure that out. So then the FBI agent is trying to work with the owner of the factory to try to figure this all out and keep them safe, because there's been a few threats on their life. I really enjoyed this one, getting to know the members and even though it is a short read, it takes place over a few months because it shows the time it takes to figure things out. And so it felt like the characters really got to know each other. So the romance was okay it wasn't quick to me. So I gave this one 4 stars. And then I immediately picked up Hidden Legacy, which follows the sister of the factory owner and who we had met in book 1. So they are not considered a series, more of a companion. But yeah, it was really fun because we also saw the factory owner and the FBI agents that we'd gotten to know. And this one, you're dealing with Caroline arriving home and her house is ransacked. and it becomes apparent that somebody is either after her or the baby that she currently has custody of. And who is it? And the detective assigned to the case, it happens to be her ex-best friend. And something happened, they had a falling out, and so now they've got to deal with figuring out why they're being targeted and can they repair the relationship. Again, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Then I read To Save Her Child by Margaret Daley. This is another love-inspired suspense book. We are following a single mother who has an 8-year-old child. The child goes missing at camp, and this is set in Alaska, and a canine search and rescue worker gets assigned with their dog so the two of them go off to try to find the kid. They do find the kid fairly quickly, but then they're not safe. Things keep happening. I really enjoyed watching the child, Robbie, build a relationship with the dog. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. The single mom, is running from an ex-husband who is very dangerous. And is the ex the one that is causing what's going on, or is it somebody else? Then the male main character is an ex-POW. Yes, an ex-POW. And so they're dealing with the trauma and trying to get back in life, kind of like home life, but dealing with this past trauma. And so the relationship felt too quick for me in this story, and I only gave it 3 stars. Then I listened to The Codebreaker's Daughter by Amy Lynn Green. This is a historical set around World War I and World War II, mainly World War II. And then it's a mother and daughter story, and basically the Codebreaker's daughter. So we are following the daughter in World War II time period, who is finding out about her mom's activities in World War I, or during World War I. This is set in Washington, D.C., the whole story. So it describes war, or talks about war, but it doesn't have the horrifics of war because they're not on the war front. And I really enjoyed it. This was a very character-driven story, really relationships between people, and it deals with mental illness and the struggles of that, and characters kind of dealing with it, and is it heredity? What's going on? Yeah. Is it going on? I really connected with it. It is a slow-paced story, and while I didn't fully understand what Dinah, the daughter's job was at times, I didn't care because I really cared about the characters and wanting to know more about the characters. Because I listened to this book, I did not realize that the World War I timeline was Dinah reading her mom's journal. I thought it was flashbacks to telling activity, day-to-day happenings of what was going on at that point. I didn't realize she was reading the journal, but I still really enjoyed it. It was really enjoyable. I gave this one 4 stars. Then The Silver Shadow by Liz Tolsma. I could not put this book down. This is a historical suspense. It is part of the True Colors series. Again, this is a series that are more companions than series because they're written by different authors and they do not connect with each other. They're just all based around the same theme. It says True Colors is fiction based on strange but true history. And in this one, it is Denver, 1900. And it is a shadowy figure swings a dangerous club. So a man is targeting women who are out alone on the streets at night, but he is hitting them over the head. And he's not mugging them. They've not been violated, that all their money is still there. What is going on? And each chapter just was okay, what? I need to know what's going to happen next. So we are following a journalist who is writing the story about what's going on, or trying to write. She is fighting to get the story because female journalists at this time, they want to give it to the mail. And then there's the detective that is investigating and trying to piece things together. And I really, really enjoyed and had to know what was going to happen next. This was a 4.5 star, rounded down to 4 star, only because each chapter starts with a date of time. And so we know when the events happen. But then near the end, we're given a date. And then the next chapter gives another date. But then in that chapter, you're talking about yesterday. And the date wasn't yesterday. And it really threw me off. I had to go back and read a couple times. Like, did I read the date wrong? Did I? And then there's another reference to the timeline. And I'm like, wait, that timeline doesn't flow. So that just really threw me off. But otherwise, I really enjoyed the story. Okay, then I have True to You by Becky Wade. This is a contemporary romance. It is a book 1 of the Bradford Sisters series. We are following Nora, who is the middle sister. And she is a historian, librarian, running a historical village, or genealogist, not librarian. And she she partners up with John, who is a former SEAL who runs a security company, and he is trying to find his birth parents. And so they begin working together to try to figure out. John has received a bad diagnosis, so that is leading him to try to find his medical history. And as the story continues, I felt for John so much, because it just seemed like he kept getting negative information and never really making progress. And when he did, it wasn't good news. And I really felt for him. And I loved the way the characters learn to trust God and turn to God for everything. This was a read for me. I read it originally when it first released, and I gave it 5 stars then, and I gave it 5 stars again today, this month, because I really enjoyed it. Okay, then The Story Girl by L.M. Montgomery. This is a classic. I read this for Chantel's Year of Mod. This was the book for August. And it really felt like a bunch of short stories kind of mashed together. We're following a group of kids who are cousins, siblings, friends, and basically their summer adventures together. And what threw me off about this is it's called The Story Girl, and the story girl is involved in it, it's one of the kids. However, this is told from the perspective of a 13-year-old boy. And that just threw me off so much, not what I was expecting at all. And I don't feel like the story girl really had a large role. She was in every scene or majority of the scenes, but yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll read book 2 or not. This is book 1. I didn't connect with any of the kids the way I really would like to, and I just didn't really care what happened next. So I gave it 3 stars. It was entertaining. There were some funny moments, some funny antics of the kids, but I just didn't connect with them. Okay, then I read Out of Time by Irene Hannon. Yes, this is the same title as the Lynn H. Blackburn book that I read earlier in the month, but this one is a full-length book. It is book 3 of her Undaunted Courage series. I had an advanced reader copy of this. This one officially releases October the 7th. It is romantic suspense, and I loved it. This is a 5-star read for me. I absolutely loved this book. There is not a lot. It's more of a mystery than a action suspense book, because we are following Kara, who has come to an estate to spend the semester at the estate, trying to do some research with the older woman that owns the estate. And while she's at the estate, some things start happening, and what is going on, and kind of who's behind. But as we follow multiple people's perspectives at the beginning, for the first good half of the book probably, And each person kind of has a motive of they could be behind the events that's going on. So you're totally guessing who is actually responsible for what is happening. And then there is a romance that develops, and at first it could be between a couple different guys for Kara, but then, you know, you're kind of leaning, okay, no, it's this one. And I really like the one that it kind of went towards. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I highly recommend it because it kept me guessing. I did not know who was really responsible for the events until it was revealed in the book. And then trying to watch the characters try to figure it out and what's going to happen. Okay, then I completed The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. This was the Christian fiction. No, not Christian fiction. This was the read along with Krista from Books and Jams. So I read this slowly over the course of the month, kind of a chapter a day, give or take. And this is the book that I have not given a rating to because it is nonfiction apologetics like. So I had this on audio as well as physical. And so I tandem read it together, like with listening to the audio while I was following along. And if it wasn't for the live chats that I was a part of with Krista and a few other ladies, I don't think I would have finished the book. I found it really heavy and dense and scientific, and that's just not my type of reading, that I really had to read things multiple times. And I also, some of it, I don't care about the background or I know what I believe, and I like from faith aspect. And so I did enjoy parts of it. There were some that it's like, okay, that's really interesting that, like, you know, like secular research has really backed up what's in the Bible. And I think there will be parts of it that will be really good for reference, but just to fully read through, like, just, you have to be really, really interested in this subject matter and like all the little details and stuff. And that's just not my kind of thing. So yeah, I'm not reading this book, but I did complete it. And if you are interested in like finding out how, like, kind of the very nuanced details about the Bible and backing it up, like how it's backed up in real life, like how true it, like, does archaeology prove the Bible, like that, yes, it would be interesting for you. Okay, and then the last book is Lilac Bride by Shanna Hatfield. This is a contemporary romance. It is book 4 in her Holiday Brides series, and this is another novella. We are following a couple who gets engaged at the very start of the book, and so the story is following them from their engagement to their wedding. And then there are things that happen throughout that kind of, will their wedding actually happen? Because, you know, kind of things happen, like they don't have a reception venue at one point, like different little things happen, and how will they react to the challenges that happen and kind of the rent in the plans. And I really enjoyed it. I liked the characters, and we see past characters from the other 3 books in the series take place. We have a mix of younger people, like in their mid-20s, along with seniors who live at this retirement village, and kind of because they're the grandparents or the aunts and uncles of the younger people. And I really enjoyed it. It's just a fun story, and I was rooting for the characters. And I gave this one 4 stars. So those are all the books I read in the month of August. My favorites were Out of Time by Irene Hannon, The Silver Shadow by Liz Tolsma, and True to You by Becky Wade. Please let me know if you have read any of these, or if it interested you in any of these, and what was your favorite read of the month of August. I would love to chat in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.